morning. Good morning, Tish.
Good morning, Mario. How are you today?
I am doing good. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Today's show is going to be a very interesting show because, woo, I'm telling you, this weekend, we pretty much, I heard so many horror
Oh,
stories about so many different weddings this weekend that, I don't know. Now, my wedding was perfect. I mean, I had the perfect wedding this weekend.
all right, listen,
But,
show off. First of
huh?
all, show off.
I mean, I just gonna say my wedding was. I mean, it was just perfect. I mean, everything about the wedding was perfect. So I'm, but I've heard.
You know what? I'm glad it was because it's always great when you have a successful event. It really is, and it's always a great feather in your cap when you have a great. You know what I'm saying?
Well, and I think what one of the biggest things I wanted to highlight is that this young couple, they took time out to really plan their wedding.
Mm-hmm.
And when I say that is that their timeline, they're like I have a 14-day deadline for all this to be turned in. They turn their stuff in 30 days in advance.
Mm-hmm.
I mean,
Mm-hmm.
they were on it. I mean, the bride, she wasn't playing. She was making sure her wedding day was going to be perfect.
Got you.
She didn't cut any corners. I mean, everything she did was
Mm-hmm.
perfect. Even though they did the do-it-yourself decorations and decor,
Yeah,
but they had
but
the
I
venue
saw the pictures. They were beautiful.
right. But the thing was, they got the venue the day prior to do all the
Mm-hmm.
decor, so they didn't have to do a lot of work the day of.
Oh, you
So
guys
it's
are
like
at it.
Cat, Catless Farm.
Thank you. I was trying to get the name to get out my mouth, and I
And
can't
see
come out.
that's another thing is Catless Farm is one of the better venues because they're very user friendly and they go
Very.
way and beyond to make sure that everything turns out perfect.
The owner
So
there is absolutely wonderful to work
right,
with.
so that's why I say it's like the way I mean perfect. I mean that wedding was perfect, and I think the reason why I'm pointing that out is because we're going to get into some of these horror stories I heard this weekend. And majority of the time I heard was the DJ. I don't know what was going on this weekend with DJs. I mean, I've got so many bad reports about DJs ruining the events that I could not. I was like, wow. And the majority of the ones, and I'm telling you, all those DJs that are coming up, and you're trying to get yourself established. There is a protocol for doing weddings.
There
Um,
is.
and I really want all my DJs out there that are just getting started. Before you do a wedding, please take the time to do the research and know exactly what is required. A lot of these horror stories I heard about DJs this weekend, um, it just sounds like they didn't know preparation. They didn't know. It's just like it sounds like they didn't take time out to get the right information before the ceremony started or before the reception. And I, I mean, it's to me, it kind of hurt my feelings that majority of the events that I heard that were ruined this weekend was because of the DJ.
Mm-hmm.
So I really want to harp on that is that if you show up to do your wedding with a cell phone,
Mm. Don't you get me started.
I mean, I get it. Technology has become extremely advanced, but you can't do a whole wedding day using your cell phone.
No.
You're it's like, what if you get a phone call? It's just,
I mean, that's
I
what the
mean,
phone is intended for. I'm just saying. I mean,
right.
why wouldn't you
But
think that
that's
you
why I
might
want
get a phone
people to
call?
really understand there's a right and wrong way of doing things. And so like today's topic is is there a wrong way to do an event? Um, and we're going to harp on this a little bit because there is a lot of wrong way things that you can do that are wrong. Um, but some people are happy with those things. Um, so we're going to get into it. We're going to talk about those things. Um, and it's like Tish. First question is the do-it-yourself wedding. Or I mean, do it yourself events is one thing, but do it yourself wedding. Um, what should you not do with a do it yourself wedding?
There are
I
a lot
mean,
of things I could think of to answer that, but my first thing is cater. Please do not cater your own wedding. Please do not fix your own food. Please do not take on that high level of responsibility or extra luggage or baggage for the day of your wedding. That's too much for
well, if you're the
anybody.
bride or groom, I agree. If you're the bride or groom,
Yeah.
or in a
Yeah.
bridal party of any portion of the bridal party, you should not be catering. Is definitely not something that you should do.
Let
For
me
your
tell you
wedding.
this. Let me tell you the story. I have, as a matter of fact, he's been on our show, Sean, our
Okay,
caterer, friend out of
I'm yep,
The Raleigh Fuquay area.
right.
Sean and his well now wife Drika, congratulations you guys, back in June. Um they got married. Okay. Now they hired a caterer, but he is a professional caterer. And I don't mean like just locally in North Carolina. He travels around the US catering. You understand?
Mm-hmm.
People fly him to LA, Chicago, places like that, to do catering. He's a professional caterer. He did not cook his own food for his daggone wedding. He hired someone to do it
Right.
because he understood what it meant and what it took to do that. And he didn't want to put that kind of pressure on himself. You understand what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
So if a professional caterer won't do it, why do you want to do it? I don't understand that. Like, why would you take on that type of responsibility for yourself when you don't do this every day,
And that's
every
one.
week?
And I think that's one of the things that people need to understand is that trying to save money or trying to utilize the money that you have to be effective. I will say this: if you're not going to spend the money, um, be careful on how you do it yourself type scenarios because
Mm-hmm.
not spending it. Like I said again, I get it. Some people will have a real tight budget, but there's a way you could do an event and still spend the same amount, like the budget that you want. You just
Mm-hmm.
have to understand what corners to cut and which ones not to cut.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Catering is one that I highly agree with. This is that even if you don't cook your own food, you can always have your stuff ordered. Like you can go through Golden Corral,
Mm-hmm.
Fuller's, all
We'll
these
pick
Bishop Barbecue.
what
You can
what is it, grandsons in
grandsons.
Fayetteville? Yeah. You
I mean,
can
you don't have to actually have a caterer. You could actually just have your food cooked for you, and you pick it, have someone pick it up and drop it off.
mm-hmm.
There's different ways. There's different things you can do. Um, as far as the catering, but to be the bride or groom, and you're going to be the actual caterer for your own wedding,
That just doesn't make sense.
it puts a lot of stress. Number one, you put yourself in a now. There's like I said, there's some things you can do yourself, like decor. I know me and Tish talking about earlier. There's a way you can do decor if you have a vendor or a venue that's working with you, where
Mm-hmm.
the venue's allowing you to come in the day prior, and that means you, your bridesmaids, your groomsmen come in, and y'all can do all that work. I can see that. If you have to cut corners, I think that's probably the only place that you really can cut corners at. I mean, at the same time, though, if you don't know what you're doing, yeah, take a good. You might, go and do some real hardcore research on what
Mm-hmm.
to do on those scenarios. The DJ situation. Um, you can't be the bride and groom and be your own DJ.
No.
It's like,
I don't want to hear Bluetooth connected. Okay.
well, yeah, that's. I mean, that's a. And number one, you don't really want to use Bluetooth. I mean, if you have to use it, I get it, but Bluetooth is really not a. It's not an effective method. Don't get me wrong now. If you want to Bluetooth and have your iPad there to where you control the music, by all means, hey, that works. But understand the format. Um, DJs, I really need for y'all to really do y'all with your homework. Please do your homework. When you do someone's wedding, um, there is a dress code
Mm,
for doing a wedding.
talk about it.
Um, I, the video I saw today, just before we start this show, if you show up for somebody's wedding wearing shorts, you're wearing, I guess, a short summer outfit with sandals and white socks,
Mm,
um, at a formal event, you're going to be dead in the water before you could play the first song.
mm-hmm.
And then your music selection, okay, songs not to play during the ceremony.
Can I
Um,
chime in right here? Please do not play side piece because I don't know how to sing, y'all. And I'll try it for you if you want me to, but I don't want to hurt y'all feelings. But don't play side piece. Do not play I wanna sex you up. Mm-mm-mm. Don't play that. And don't play I can't say the word. Good gracious, it's bodacious. I can't say all the words. It's getting hot here. Don't
it's
play
getting
that.
hot here.
Before the ceremony. Don't play
Now,
that.
if it's a
If it's not a reception, don't play that. Don't play that.
if you're deliberately trying to be funny, that's one thing. You try to make it funny, or I get it because I know that, like, I know when they have the flower guy or the flower woman that come in,
That's
and they try to be funny. That's one thing.
mm-hmm.
But you know, it's like you're playing side piece before the bride comes out. That the message don't go good together. These are things that DJs really need to understand is the music selection that you're going to play. Majority of the time, I want people to understand this. 80% of the input for a wedding is given by the couple, by the bride and groom. So majority of the music that's going to be played is going to be coming directly from the bride and groom.
Mm-hmm.
Most of the time, a DJ should not have that much say so in the music during the ceremony because the ceremony is more of a personal, more of a it's more of a vibe that the bride and groom wants people to
Mm-hmm.
feel.
Very much
So that's something that people need to understand is that if you're a DJ, if you in this video I saw earlier, it looks like the bride and groom gave full control to the DJ, who obviously has never done a wedding before. So then when you,
actually
I mean, it's like side piece. I mean, I mean, it's like in the video, it looks like he's at a backyard cookout. You would never think it was a wedding based off the music. I mean, based off of how he was dressed. I mean, until you see the rest of the video, we can't play the video, ladies and gentlemen, because we don't want to hurt no one's feelings. But he's wearing a high speed, nice short outfit with sandals and white socks, and here he is playing side piece and sex you up before the wedding ceremony even begins. And then he's about to announce the bridal party in for the ceremony, which he got it confused. Well, it was obviously he got it confused with the reception. And so that's why I say, as DJs, you really need to understand the protocol of how to do a wedding. Please don't just jump out here and do a wedding. You will embarrass yourself. You will embarrass the couple, and you really will embarrass yourself. So I need for people to really take time out to understand there and we try to say there's no wrong way of doing an event, but it seems like people are continuously proving us wrong that there is a wrong way of doing the event.
mm-hmm.
Um, hey Sonia, it's, Sonia, absolutely okay. She was laughing. I guess she was laughing about the side piece. But we need for people to understand that we're not like again, we're not trying to down anyone's wedding or anything like that. But I need for people to understand that there's a way you want to go about doing things to where you're not on Facebook or on YouTube being laughed at or TikTok because of what happened at your wedding.
Because
Um,
it can happen. I'm just
it can't
saying.
happen. It can't happen. And
I'm
I
not
mean,
saying anybody in on this program is going to release any video of anything, but I'm just saying it can happen.
and then I also want to point out vendors. Um, Listen, if you show up at somebody's event drunk,
Oh Lord Jesus, yes.
because that was another situation that happened this weekend. Is the DJ was drunk before the ceremony could even begin. Not understanding that whole, I mean, the story didn't make any sense to me. But the DJ showed up drunk and did a lot of bad things. Um, did a lot of bad things with at the ceremony. So I need, and ladies and gentlemen, I'm gonna say this: if you're doing a wedding, take the time to do the research on your vendors. Please look at the reviews, look at all the information dealing with them because this was a crazy situation. I've never heard of. I heard of DJs getting drunk, but showing up.
During, yeah,
Yeah,
like
during.
during, but not before.
Now, as a professional, vendors should not be drinking.
No, not at all.
Um, Vendors should really not be drinking at all during events. Good morning, Rose.
Good morning, Rose. Good morning, Sonia.
So I want to make sure that because, like I said, that was another horror story I heard this weekend. Was the DJ showed up drunk and did a lot of bad things I mean,
Missed a
embarrass
lot of
himself.
cues, made a lot of
Right,
mistakes.
made a
It was
lot of
hard.
mistakes, and then on top of that, it sounded like he really didn't understand the format for weddings also. So it's critical. Like for ladies and gentlemen, it's like again, I say that there's no right or wrong way of doing an event, but this weekend, I guess people are just making it clear what to do wrong when you do events. I mean, a majority of the weddings that got messed up this weekend, I'm telling you, I feel sorry for so many people. Listening to some of these stories,
Yeah.
a DJ showing up late, or vendors showing up late.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, had another story I heard. I heard the DJ showed up 30 minutes late. That anytime any vendor is late doing anything, it has a major effect on the event.
Let me interrupt you just for a second. Also, um, and this is not to pick on anybody or call anybody out, but also couples, um, plan accordingly. Um, Make sure that you're on time because if you're late, you push everything else back. Here's the thing: you hired a DJ, you hired a photographer, you hired a caterer, you hired a
Videographer,
videographer. When you hire them, if your ceremony is going to start at 4 o'clock and their contract went from 2 to 6 or 2 to 8 or something like that, and you're an hour late or 30 minutes late or whatever, their contract didn't change because you were late.
right,
Their contract stayed the same. So when you're an hour late getting started, their time has already started long before that. And what's going to happen is that you're going to have your photographer leaving before everything is done. You're going to have your, uh, for instance, this weekend, the bartender was scheduled to be there from 6:30 to 10 o'clock. Okay. Um, but because things started so late, by the time everything got to the reception part, she was gone. She was gone. So you guys got to be on time too. I'm not saying the vendors don't have to be on time because we have to be on time as well. But you have to be on time because your tardiness not only affects your event and the flow of it, but also affects whether your vendors are going to still be there or
right,
not. You know what I'm
absolutely.
saying?
And that's why I said that timeline. I've seen it happen over the years. I've seen it happen too many times where, um, that like in one situation, the caterer was late. Um,
Mm-hmm.
Actually, these last couple of years, the caterer has been like either where no show or was
Mm-hmm.
late, and it does have a major impact. Now, of course, when you're dealing with professionals, professionals know how to maneuver and do things to where, like what we had to do one time is the caterer was a no show. They had to hire another caterer on the spot. So we had to change up the schedule to meet that requirement for that caterer being not being there. Um,
Mm-hmm.
that caterer is one, I would say, one vendor that is crucial to any event,
Very.
because that can throw off everything.
It
Um,
can. It
and I
can.
know I've had one situation where the videographer, um,
I can't.
well, Rose, I
Right,
wouldn't
I
say
can't believe
that.
she said that. She's actually a caterer, and she knows she always early. I don't know what she's talking, but she's right. They are notorious for being late, but
Well, I
she's
mean,
an
and that's where,
excellent caterer.
and I think what it, I think, and to be honest with you, I think it has a lot to do with the planning portion of it. Is that people don't know how to plan when the food needs to be present.
It's time management.
It's time management, and I think caterers are, yeah, they because like if you have the caterer coming at a time,
See,
I'm always on time.
she is. She always you're early. Actually, ma'am, be
Yeah,
correct. You're always early.
but I think that's what it is that when you're talking to the client, the customer who is not familiar with the timeline,
Mm-hmm.
that's why it's crucial that people need to do a little more research. Is that you don't want the caterer showing up during the time, like let's say for example, what some people do is have the caterer show up during the time the ceremony is taking place.
Mm-mm. No, ma'am.
That's
No,
that's
sir.
that's
No, ma'am.
bad.
No, sir.
That's no, that's bad. Is you don't want the caterer showing up when the guests are showing up. You don't want the caterer. You want the caterer to get present before guests even start walking in the door.
Even if
So
the food is not out, they can have
right,
their chafing dishes out, all their
right.
stuff already out on the table.
And there's a difference between the preparation and then when the food is actually put
And
out. There's
presentation,
two
you're
different.
right.
There's a two different things people need to understand. That is that when caterer's time to show up doesn't mean that food is actually going out at that
That's
time. It
correct.
means that they're coming in to set up,
Mm-hmm.
and that's where people need to. I think that's where the confusion is sometimes. Is that people don't understand that putting the cater at the right time. And so it's like if you have someone cooking the food or whatever, the food needs to be technically be prepared to be put out.
That's correct.
So that means the caterer needs to show up, have the shafer dishes in place. So when they go to put the food out, it's just a matter of it. The food's just going to stay warm.
I mean,
And
because I sometimes I wonder, do people think the caterers get to the venue and cook the food or something? Because here's the thing, they have to cook it before they pack
right,
it, before they transport it, before
right,
they unpack it at your event. So that means that food has been cooked a couple of hours, a
right,
few hours before it ever arrived. So it's and 9 times out of 10, it's usually steaming hot when they get there anyway.
right. And
So,
most of the time, they actually professionals have warmers
hmm
in their vehicles to keep the food warm as it's being transported.
hmm so it's I don't understand why people don't like it. Like it's almost like the process doesn't make any sense, or the it doesn't come up as a process. They have to prep it, cook it, pack it, transport it, and then unpack it, prepare where they're going to put everything, and then they have to turn around and put it out for your event. You know what I'm saying?
Right,
For your start time. So there's the caterers didn't start when they showed up at 2. I'm just saying
right.
they
And
might
that's
have been
what I think
just
that that's I think that and I think that's one of the processes that people need to ask those questions. If you've never done it before, always ask questions. Never make any assumptions. Caterers, most time, good caterers that know what they're doing are going to explain the process. That well, we need to show up and we're going to put the food out at such and such time.
hmm
Now, key word is this is what happens a lot. Now, if the bride and groom are late,
your
now
food.
that food's been sitting out for
There
a
you
period
go.
of time or it's been on the warmer for a period of time. So
hmm
now your food is either going to be one or two things. It's either going to be overcooked, or it's going to be cold, or it's going to be something, because starting late has that effect on food.
There we go.
Because the food is actually, you can't change the timeline for food once it's been cooked. And
That's
that's what
true.
people have to understand, is that if you're doing, that's why I tell people all the time, if you're doing a wedding before 3 o'clock, you're setting yourself up for failure. Because anytime you put your wedding at an earlier time, that's less time that you have to get prepared, because that means you get up at old dark 30
That's right.
to get ready.
Because makeup, look, makeup and hair doesn't take 20 minutes.
And then mac and cheese will be dry. Yes, it will. It'll be tough. It'll be hard. It'll be like a rock. You'll be
Hmm.
biting into seashells. I've seen it happen too many times. You know, that mac and cheese become baked cheese. You know,
Oh goodness, I tell you,
that's
terrible.
what we eat.
But
That's
never
what we eat.
yours, Rose.
Huh?
I was saying Santa Rose, never yours.
Right.
We just talked about mac and cheese the other day, yesterday. Never yours. Okay, but it can happen. But also, like, because if you're late, then your hair and makeup becomes late. It's like a ripple effect, like tossing the stone in the water, and then you see the ripples.
Right.
One thing like that can throw everything off really,
And
really bad.
I need for people to really understand, that, like I said, your timeline, you can't just automatically feel that, well, I'm paying all this money, I can do whatever I want. Okay, you can have that kind of attitude, but at the same time, that's not going to mean that your event's going to turn out good. Um, really take time out to, like, what I do is I do a virtual walkthrough with my clients,
Mm-hmm.
and that virtual walkthrough allows us to capture all the pros and cons before, so we can make adjustments before the actual wedding happens.
Now, when you
Um,
say virtual walkthrough, explain that a little bit further.
Virtual walkthrough is where we get all the full timeline of everything that's going to happen for that day, and we go from it step by step. And so this is the moment that I normally catch my clients not telling me something that I need to know.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
So, for example, I say, okay, I will arrive at the venue at 10 o'clock a.m., be set up by 2 o'clock p.m., and if someone is singing or a soloist, we'll do a sound check like 30 minutes after that. Um, and then I'll go step by step. I said, then the ceremony, like I said, I will open up the virtual room at such time. Ceremony will start at such time. These are the songs that we're going to play for the actual prelude.
Mm-hmm.
Then go bam, bam, bam. We pick those 5 songs that were picked out by them. Then we'll go into the ceremony. Okay, how are we coming into the ceremony? This is important that we ask these questions, because this is where stuff comes out. I was like, how are we coming into the ceremony? How is the minister or the officiant coming in?
Mm-hmm,
How
mm-hmm,
is the groom coming in? Because a lot of times when people are planning weddings, those are the two pieces that never get talked about. How's the officiant going to come in?
mm-hmm,
How's the groom going to come in?
mm-hmm,
Then how are the parents, the family, the actual bridal family? Do you
mm-hmm,
want them to be part of the ceremony, or you just want them to come in like regular guests? These
mm-hmm,
are all critical questions that I ask them, because then I have a better understanding what to expect during the ceremony.
mm-hmm,
So during the virtual walkthrough, it's more of a question answer scenario where we're going through it. We're actually like going through the actual ceremony
mm-hmm,
verbally and virtually, because I do virtual thing where I have the little high speed PowerPoint and we're going through it step by step.
mm-hmm.
Normally, this is where you catch a lot of assumptions or things that they had planned that they didn't tell you.
I think that's what I do with my itinerary. I don't actually call it a virtual walkthrough. I just kind of use the itinerary.
Well,
Like,
see, the thing is, what I've learned is a lot of brides and grooms don't even read their own itineraries.
no, I literally go through it with them.
Right, right, right.
But I was
Right.
just saying, I don't call it the virtual walkthrough. I just never thought to call it that, like me personally. But I think I kind of think that's like about the same thing I do with the itinerary when I
Well,
prepare it.
the
And
reason
I,
now the reason why it's a virtual walkthrough is because we're virtually doing it. We're online, like
oh,
how
okay,
we are
gotcha,
right
gotcha,
now.
gotcha.
Is like we're doing
Then
it
I'm gonna
virtually.
call mine a virtual walkthrough then.
Yeah,
Okay.
because that's what I do. Is like because like if you're doing it in person, that's one thing. But most of
Oh,
mine, because ever since COVID, everything is virtual now.
yeah, yeah, I'm virtual. I like that. Well, because normally I do it about a month out and then have them go through it, like read over it, and then I follow up with them and say, okay, now we need to go from A to Z. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Everything that I've put on there from the day before, which is rehearsal dinner stuff like that, and then the day of, and everything we do, all the way down to the breakdown that night. You know what I'm saying? So we go through everything on there to see what's going on. Oh yeah, yeah, yes, ma'am. They do. You know they do.
Well, that's the reason why it's good to go through, like I said, itinerary, do a virtual walkthrough,
Hmm.
whatever you want to call it, and go through the timeline. Because then, as a planner, I know as a planner, I want to know when all the vendors are showing up. So
Yeah.
when the vendor doesn't show up, you automatically know I need to make a phone call.
Mm-hmm.
So
Because and the funny thing is, with not to cut you off, I'm sorry, but the funny thing is with my team, I actually give them books. We have book. Everybody has their own book,
right,
right? And as a matter of fact, hold that thought 1 second. It's this like it's like this. Like this is my book, right? So in the book, we'll have like the bridal party information, the vendor list, the itinerary. We even have the design concepts. Like all of that is in the book. You know what I'm saying? Like
hmm
my team will get it, and we have a group chat that we do, my team members and they'll get it in the group chat, but they know they'll get the hard copy. You know what I'm
right,
saying, the day of
yeah,
the event. Because I usually will give it to them because I used to take the books and put them together, but now when I see them the day of, yes, I am big on those books. When I see them the day of, I usually just give them their sheets and they just go and put their books together that morning or whatever. So but yeah, I am big on those books, Rose. I'm really bad about it though, because I need I need something written down to follow. Because I always feel like if I don't have it written down, I'm gonna miss a step. It's like my
right,
way of my checks and balances for myself. You know what I mean? So if I feel
hmm
like it's all written down and I'm check check marking myself, so to speak, I'm not missing anything. It's just because I'm weird and I'm old. So anyway, but I feel like if people are not really understanding how this process works, and you don't have vendors that are willing to explain the process,
right,
you know what I'm saying? Then they get lost in the scenario too. But then don't get me wrong, then you we get, and Rose can attest, and Sign can too attest to this. We'll get clients that tell us that they know this, they know that, they know this, they know that,
and
and
no nothing.
literally don't listen to anything we say.
Right, right,
And then when the day flops based on them, then they want to come back and say, well, you're the planner and it should have done it. But you planned this. You didn't listen to my advice. You didn't follow anything I recommended. DJ, caterer, venue, locate nothing. But now it's my fault. Oh, okay, you know, okay. But it's a matter of, again, we say this time and time again on this show. Research information.
right.
It Google exists. What's it called? Bing. What's the other one? It's another one out there. Another search engine. But
Oh, it's Safari.
yeah, Safari. They
Safari was
exist.
on the Apple products. Yeah,
Yeah.
Safari, Wing.
All you got
Uh,
to do is press that little microphone button to go. Let's see. How do you plan a wedding? Uh, what questions do I ask the DJ? Uh, what's the order of a ceremony, a wedding ceremony? Like you can ask all these search engines these questions.
right, and
Do
it's
your
also
own
it's critical. It's
research.
critical. It's very critical, and I think that's one of the things people have to understand is that it's kind of like if you're hiring. Let's say when you're hiring vendors, okay. The biggest piece is you want to, as a client, you don't want to do their job, but you want to understand what to expect.
Thank you.
And
That's
that
it.
that is the critical of now a professional is going to explain to you the whole process. I know me, I'm real big on going through things with the client because I honestly want to know exactly what the client wants. Even if there is a planner and I am in the playing the role as a DJ, I still want to talk directly with the client because I don't want to blame the planner for a mishap. I
Hmm.
don't. The planner is not the person that signed my contract.
And things can get lost in translation. You know that.
Absolutely. So that's why it's critical, and that's what I say planners don't take it the wrong way. But it's not that I don't trust your information. It's just that I don't want to hold you reliable for the
That
information.
is why when we do stuff, we have what? Group meetings,
Yes,
virtual or in person.
because that's
That's
one thing I've
that's
learned.
important. You need you listen, planners. I know y'all are control freaks. I am too. But listen, we have to be able to work with our vendors. We have to be able to talk and communicate with our vendors. We have to be able to make sure that we're all on one accord with what the client is requesting and expecting. And it's important that you talk. Listen, while your caterer can mess up something, your DJ controls a lot of your event. A lot. You may think you control it, but you don't.
No,
They do. So it's important that you communicate with your DJs. You communicate, and let me correct myself because Maria, I'm not going to call you a DJ anymore. My apologies. It's important that you communicate with your professional wedding DJ. Okay, because I'm after this weekend. No, your professional wedding DJ. It's important that you communicate so that they can be on the same page with you. You can be on the same page with them, and you guys can work together to make sure things happen perfectly for that client. Because I'm telling you, if you lose your DJ, you're gonna fail. You're gonna
right,
fall flat on your face. I promise you. Now your caterer, they can land. They gonna fall on their face by themselves.
right.
But if you lose your DJ, hunty, you're gonna fall on your face, and you're gonna look foolish, and you're gonna be the one blamed for all whatever went on. It's gonna be your fault. I'm just telling you straight up. I'm just saying straight. What I'm just telling you what I know.
And I think that's one of the things that people have to get. It's like one of the things I would say the relationship with the planner, because I know what Rose said earlier. People blame the planner.
Mm-hmm.
The planner. One of the things I would stress this to most of the plan when I'm playing the role as the planner or the coordinator. Communication is critical. It's important.
Mm-hmm.
And what I do in most cases is when it comes to the other vendors, I might have their information, but they will communicate directly with the client on particular things. There's some things that planners, what we do is we try to shelter our clients from stress.
Mm-hmm.
So they're that stress factor. The whole purpose of them hiring us as coordinators or planners is to prevent stress.
Mm-hmm.
So if there's something going on that is a stress, then that's where the planner is going to intervene
Now
because the
let me.
planner overall knows exactly the actual plan of what the clients want. So there's some things that the planner can filter out that doesn't need to
Mhm.
get to the client.
Yeah, but
Go ahead.
there's some things that are self-induced stress. We can't do anything
Right,
about.
right, 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 right. There's
I want to. I
something.
just want to stress that we
Right.
listen. 100% across the board, we want your event to be stress free. But if you're doing stuff to yourself, or you're doing stuff like cooking your own food the day of your wedding, or you're hemming pants of the male bridal party members the day of your wedding, I can't do anything about that. You grown. I can say that's not really a good idea. Maybe you should have no, but you grown. So some self-induced stress we can't do. Now
Right.
the regular stress that we know that normally happens with weddings, that's what we can help with. But the other stuff that y'all put upon you put in your own lap, a lot of times we don't even know about that stuff until we hear you talk about it later. We're like, what you did what today? Why were you doing that? Some things are just outside of our control.
And then one of the other things that when special, and I call this like special entities or special vendors, when you have special vendors being a part of your event, and when I say special vendors,
Treat
the ones,
makers,
so who?
treat makers,
Treat makers,
360 booth.
the 360 booth, the saxophone player, the harp player, the
Yeah.
violin player, those are your very special because those are not on a normal basis.
Mm-hmm.
Um, there's a lot of logistic stuff that has to be tracked down and found. Me videographers, believe it or not, that's a videographer is not really a special, but there's a lot of special logistics that go with it.
There are
videographer,
Sam.
um, there's two things that people have to understand. I'm stressing about videography is you have to make sure if the videographer is wanting to plug into the DJ system that they
Mm-hmm.
communicate. If that's a special requirement, it's important. Now, what videographers do is they normally come with their own equipment to where they'll have any type of adapter they'll plug into the DJ system. But some DJs are very picky about their setup. So you really need to make sure that's communicated, that can be done. When you hire a band, I want people to understand this. The DJ is not a sound engineer.
Oh,
That is
yeah.
a major setup for failure where if you might automatically make an assumption that the DJ can be a sound engineer. Now, if you have one person, a soloist singing a song, that's one thing. But an
An
actual
entire band.
5 to 8 person band, that is not a job for a DJ. That is a sound engineer. That's someone that you have to hire.
Mm-hmm.
So I want people to stop making these bad assumptions. These are things that like will make a like, and this is like say, is there a wrong way of doing things for event? Yes, there's like if you're not coordinating the logistics all together, you will set yourself up for failure. Everything has to correspond. Um, like for example, I know like I have a wedding coming up, um, where I am not required to do lighting is being provided by somebody else. That is a good thing. I don't have to worry as a DJ. I don't have to worry about anything dealing with lighting. People have to understand that you can't cross over and want the DJ to micromanage another vendor. If
Yeah,
you hire a vendor to provide
it's like
light,
this. It's like the Ghostbusters said, you can't cross the streams. Don't do
right, you
that.
can't do that. And
Stop
that's
it.
what, so like I see it happen all the time is, and this is kind of funny to me, is that I've seen it where a person will hire a decorator, but then hire another decorator to do a special thing. Um, and then they don't talk.
Mario,
What?
be nice.
No, no, I'm just saying. But that's the problem, though. Is like no, I'm not talking about that. I know what you're talking about
Okay.
now. No, I'm talking about where I've seen where you hire a decorator, but then they hire somebody else to come in and do the sweetheart table. Um,
Yeah,
that
stop having so many moving parts. Basically,
right, pretty
like
much
that's a
right.
whole. That's chaotic.
I mean, that's the
Um,
thing is, I had one event. I will never forget this.
where the one that had them 16 different.
Yes, had
I
16
think it was like
different vendors.
16 different.
It was 16 different vendors to do the event.
Jeez.
16 different vendors. Way too many moving parts. Don't get me wrong, it was successful, but it was just a lot of moving parts. So it's kind of like you want to simplify the process as much as you can. You want
Yeah.
to get the right vendors, and then let's talk about the right time. This weekend was Labor Day weekend.
Woo, woo, woo.
A lot of events were not successful. I'm talking about community events. I'm talking about weddings. Because I heard
Mm-hmm.
that like the wedding situation where people that they thought were going to show up
Did
didn't
not.
show up. Anytime you plan an event on a holiday, whatever your planning numbers
Prepared.
are, about almost say 25 to 30% of that is not going to show up.
Mm-mm.
So it's
Because people
like
make plans.
right,
They want to
and then
do vacation stuff. This they get a 3-day holiday, or some people a 4-day holiday. They may not have been on vacation all summer because their kids been running them crazy all summer with camp
absolutely.
and everything else, and they want to go somewhere.
I mean, but think about it. Like, I want to tell people to understand. Like, in September, Labor Day weekend is one of the besides Memorial Day weekend
Mm-hmm.
and Labor Day. Those are two big. The beginning of the summer and then the ending of the
End of
summer.
the summer. Mm-hmm.
When they open the beach and when they close the beaches.
There you go.
There's a lot of functions that go on Memorial Day and Labor Day. I know, but in the skate community, we have our big skate event in Atlanta every single year, and everybody goes down there. So it's like
Mm-hmm.
there's so many major and then let me even take it to one thing. The I can't think of what it's called. I don't insult no one but anything, but I know it's a big Caribbean parade they do up north
Mm-hmm.
Labor Day. the island. It's like an island type where they come together
Isn't
and they
this the
serve.
same weekend of Battle of the Bands? Wasn't this the same weekend of Battle of the Bands?
Right. There was so many different things that went on this
Hmm.
weekend. So it's kind of like if you really want to take time out to like Labor Day and Memorial Day are the worstest holidays to plan stuff. Now Fourth of July is not as big as it used to be. Fourth of July's kind of died out, but
Hmm.
Memorial Day is like the beginning of the summer. Kids get out of school. That's a big holiday, and
Hmm.
then Labor Day.
That's right.
After that, Thanksgiving, all the other ones they kind of die out a little bit. They're not as big as those two holidays when you're trying to set up or design an event. So
Hmm.
in the future, people like I said again, is there a wrong way of doing the event? There is no technically no wrong way. It depends on how successful you want the event to be, but that is crucial. I mean, I sat back, I heard numbers. Ooh, I'm like, at a wedding, what only 15 people showed up for the wedding?
Yep.
That's sad. I mean, that's real sad. So I mean, that's something that people need to understand is that take time to properly plan stuff. Vendors, I can't stress this enough. I mean, right now I know we've been promoting vendors. We've been trying to get vendors. You know, we're really trying to build up our industry. But it seems like every day I hear these horror stories of, again, I get it. If you want to be a vendor and you want to step out there, because guess what? In most cases, vendors is the first, like as an entrepreneur, it's like one of the major things that under the entrepreneur network that people will come out and start their own business,
Hmm.
but because you don't really have to have a license to a degree.
Yeah, and we totally support entrepreneur entrepreneurs. Period. We really do because we're entrepreneurs. Period.
Right.
So of course we support being an entrepreneur, but we just ask that if you're going to step into any arena, be it this one, lawn care, whatever, you know, in the field you want to be in. It could be the wedding industry, it could be
Right.
the lawn care industry, it could be the house painters of America, whatever industry you want to step into, there should be some amount of research. There should be some amount of study that you put into it first. If there are licensing certificates or certifications that you can get, go do those things because you can learn a lot. Um, every other year, I take different classes so that I can make sure that I stay up on current trends and things of that
Absolutely.
nature. Um, don't get me wrong, my classes are not cheap. They're usually like $2,000 to $3,500 or more to take. But um, if you're asking people to spend money with you, you must be willing to spend money and invest in yourself as well.
Right.
Because you're asking other people to invest money in you. So, but that's just something that I do. But I'm just saying, like, after 24 years of being in this field, I still go to classes. I still
Right.
take, things to make sure that I am staying on top of things, learning new concepts, learning new things. Because I do play a couple of roles, like as a decorator, designer,
Mhm.
a florist, and a planner, and dev coordinator, and event management. So there's things I need to make sure I'm staying up on. We just ask that when you step into this arena, out of respect for those, and I'm gonna be honest, out of respect for those that have been here, out of respect for those that are new, that have put in the work to get here, out of respect for that group, do yourself a solid, seriously, and invest in yourself and educate yourself, and then get you a mentor.
Right. Yeah.
I
That's.
know
I
a
mean.
lot of people in this industry don't like to share, but I'm gonna tell you right now, you're looking at two people who don't mind. I don't look at anybody as my competition.
I
I
don't
just
either.
don't.
And the thing
And
is,
Mario definitely doesn't.
and
You know,
what you're saying, Tish, is so true because you can go to YouTube and get like you can watch stuff on YouTube. People are
please,
there. Like you got vendors like us who are sharing their information on YouTube.
yeah.
They got their little channels and stuff, and they're putting information out. And I
And
think that's something that people need to understand is that like with me, I know well I got tired of getting jerked around with different vendors to where I went and got my degree in event planning.
thank
You can
you.
get an online degree. I mean, you can get. There's a difference between. I want people to understand this. There is a big difference between a certification and
And
an
a
actual
degree.
college degree. The college degree is more so based on a corporate level. Certification is more on a personal level. There's more doing more personal type events.
Mm-hmm.
Like I said, it's like
And that's the
having
difference between me and Mario right now. Mario has the college degree,
right,
and I have certifications.
right.
Way different. Now, I am certified to do corporate events, but I don't have a college degree in event planning. So there is a difference. So there are things that I can teach him and things that he can teach me, and we
Right.
never have a problem with that.
And then
But see,
on the OJT is what we call on the job training
that's right.
is so critical because as a DJ, we need to understand the whole process. Like when they teach the course, like you go get a degree, they don't just teach event planning. They teach everything. They teach
Thank
audio,
you.
video. They talk about the bartender. They talk about catering services. They talk
Because that's
about food
everything you
management.
have to know.
So as an event coordinator slash planner, you have to be across the board. So that
Mhm.
degree is very helpful. If I don't care in what level, if you're a decorator, if you're a DJ, if you're a balloon maker, it doesn't matter. I think everybody should go get that degree, and then follow it up with certifications because then you're getting properly educated. Certifications is more current and more accurate to do an event. The degree covers a broad scope of everything,
Mhm.
and it doesn't get into the nitty gritty like a certification does.
Mhm. Got you. Got you.
And that's why I say it's critical that take time out to invest in yourself. And
Yeah.
then again, like what Tish is saying is that if you need help, reach out. I know Tish when I first met Tish, her story was when she first started in this business, people wouldn't help her out. They were cold hearted and they were it's like they were cutthroat.
Mhm.
Now that environment has changed drastically because I remember when I first started, it was exactly like that. Now DJs were different, but the coordinators, the event planners that she came encounter with, they weren't helpful at all. So me, I had DJs like DJ Easy Hutch. I had DJs
Mhm.
like um,
Swoop.
DJ Swoop, which is Jonathan,
Mhm.
DJ Nate. I had DJs like that would take time out to help me and mentor me. If I ask them questions, they show me what right looks like from a DJ standpoint.
Mhm. Mhm.
Uplighting, lighting, light effects. I had those type of DJs to mentor me. So that's what now I pass it on and I do the same thing. But as clients and customers, y'all really need to do your homework.
Mhm.
You really need to
Definitely
do your homework.
so.
And then the last thing we're going to really hit hard on is doing business with family. Tish, tell me, give me a rundown. How many times have events been ruined because the clients went with their families to do things?
Oh my lord. Um, I'm gonna put it this way: 9.5 times out of 10, if you're depending on your family for stuff for your event, they're gonna ruin it. Thank you, Rose. The worst.
Yes.
Because 9 times out of 10, they're not the professional.
They're
You know what
more
I'm saying?
lax. They're a little bit more lax.
Yeah. Um, I'll put it this way. I'm gonna give you a scenario. And Rose, if you don't mind, I'm gonna use you for a second. Rose's mom got married recently, and we worked. Well, I came in to do some parts of it and help out or whatever. Like Young and Lovely came underneath her creations, to help out with some things with it. And she did the catering. It was beautiful, wonderful. Everything was great. But Rose is a professional. Do you understand what I'm saying? She's a professional.
Mhm.
So everything was done the day before. Okay? The day before. Everything was set up. Everything was beautiful the day before. When you get family members that you're relying on to do things, what happens is somebody will forget they were supposed to do that with you, or they'll something else has come up and they can't do it now. They oh well, maybe I could just do this part, or and it's always the last minute, okay, where you don't have time to recover or regroup. And or for instance, I had a wedding where the bride's uncle said because he could cook really, really well, he was going to be the caterer. They ran out of food halfway through the line, ran out of food. I literally had to leave the wedding and run and go get. They ran out of meat. Actually, they
Right.
ran out of the entree. I had to go run to a local chicken place to get some daggone chicken to fill up the daggone thing with. They're not responsible. You're right because there's no signed contract. There's no business at risk. There's no jeopardy to them. There's nothing. There's
Right.
nothing.
Now
So
there's a difference, and I want to, I'm kind of like straighten some out real quick. I just thought about something when you said it.
go ahead.
There's a difference between a family reunion and a
Hmm.
wedding.
Very much so.
Okay, so what we're talking about more so is your formal type events, like your
Hmm.
weddings. Um, those are crucial. Where it's better to have professionals. Don't if you can't afford person, I get it, but it's better to have professionals because like um, family. I've seen it happen where people who are relying on family to do stuff, and it fails.
Hmm.
I had one, and I will never forget this. Um,
I'm.
claim to be this real important chef, supposed to be this real popular chef, showed up for the event to to cook the food. The food was so late and so behind that the guests actually left because the food was not even ready. So those are things that we really try to get people to understand is that um, when you're dealing with your family, now don't get me wrong, if you have a family that are professional about what they do and they're able to maintain that business um, posture in a sense of when they're doing the event, that's one thing. But like this one cook, I mean, the bride was so excited. Yes, this, like, bam, she's like awesome. She's the best chef. This, and so forth. And I, then I heard all these great things about this person, but when it came time to execute, the person that she talked about did not exist that
Mm.
day for her wedding. So what happened was lackadaisy. People, when you take on family, the first thing you want to do is you want to get relaxed. Now, me, I have a hardcore, I have that military standpoint where even if I'm doing family events, I still treat it as though it's an actual event. Um, but when you're dealing with family, family takes a lot of shortcuts.
Yeah, they do.
And those shortcuts can cause that can really ruin your event.
They do. One thing that you said, I'm sorry, I had to run to go grab that phone so I could shut it off. I'm
Oh,
sorry,
you
it's
good?
ringing like crazy. Um, you were talking about the difference between a family reunion and a wedding. Um, listen, and I know sometimes we're kind of hard on things or hard on subject matter. We don't mean to be hard, but we're really wanting to um, maybe give warnings.
Right.
Like let me give you a story, and y'all know I'm a scenario story person. Um, when I was little, it's the same my mother used to tell me when I was little. Well, she didn't tell me, but a couple of times, and I got it. Um, if I'm walking down a road, right, a dirt road, and you're like a mile or two behind me on the same dirt road, and I'm walking down this dirt road and I fall in this hole, and I manage to climb my way out of the hole. I don't have anything to fill the hole up with, but I see you coming. So I'm telling you, there's a hole right there. Don't fall in that hole. So
Right.
I'm warning you so you can walk around the hole so you don't fall in the hole. So what we're really trying to do, and that's this is my mother's way of saying that her advice is just trying to keep me from making the same mistakes that she made. So our advice is coming from a place of genuine care and concern because we've seen clients make these multitudes of mistakes.
Right.
We've seen vendors make these multitudes of mistakes, and we're just trying to help by sharing some of these multitudes of mistakes with you to say, hey, it can happen, but if you maybe choose this path
Right.
or this way to go, it may not happen to you. And so I just want to make sure that we soften our blows sometimes. Sometimes I think I'm a little gruff when I'm saying things. Because my brother tells me sometimes I'm a little aggressive when I say things. And I don't mean to be, but that's just my tone. I just have a way of
Right.
talking. Um, but I just want people to know that we really are genuinely we do care. And this show, I'm gonna be honest with you guys, this started based off of conversations that he and I would have on a regular basis,
Yeah.
going on what, about 6 to 8 years now.
Right.
You know, just conversations we would have all the time about things that were happening or we were seeing happening or that we heard happen or whatever. And so it just kind of cultivated into this, where we felt like when we have these conversations, there needs to be witnesses to some of these conversations,
Right.
so people can, learn something from them and gain something
Right.
from them, so
The
we can
biggest,
share,
biggest
what
part
we're
was education. We talked
yeah,
hard
and
about
we're
the
all
education.
about that.
Right.
So I want you guys to know we're not knocking anybody, we're not dogging anybody out. Um, we are all about uplifting, but we will definitely be the ones to kind of try to keep you from falling in those holes
Right.
along the way if we can. Okay, and then
Mhm.
also please know that we're also the ones that will um, band together with vendors to make sure that your event goes as wonderfully as possible, as long as we have willing participants in the vendors. And that
Absolutely.
is really I'm kind of making a dig at oh, I love you, Sharice. Thank you, baby. I love her. I love you, Rose. You're so sweet. I love you guys. Y'all gonna make me cry. Don't do that. Don't do that. Y'all know I have ugly cries. Y'all know I have the ugliest cry.
But
But
that
I just want you guys to know that we are really genuinely wanting you guys to succeed. Like I'm
right.
retiring in another year. Mario's retiring in about another year or two.
They ain't gonna let me retire. I
I know.
try.
I'm
They
trying.
ain't gonna let me retire.
I got people talking about 2026. I'm like, no.
Well,
But
me
really
too. Yeah, like don't
2025.
say
I'm
like
like, no. But but before we leave the industry, we really want to share, whether it be next year or the next 5 years. Who knows
right,
with us? But definitely we want to make sure that we're sharing the things that we've learned, the things that we've heard, the things that we've been educated on, the things that we've seen. We definitely want to share some of the great vendors that we've worked with other people, so that other people know who's out there. Like for instance, I told y'all before about Rose Boyd. Rose is a event planner, wedding planner. She is a decorator. She is a designer. She has rental items as well. She has throne chairs as well. She is also a phenomenal caterer. She has a bartending service. Her daughter, my niece, is also a sweet treat maker. Okay. She's based in the South Carolina area, but she does travel to North Carolina on a regular basis. Trust me. I know. She was just here yesterday. Now, Cherise Carter, she's a part of my team, but Cherise has her own business. She does sweet treats and she does a fantastic job with balloons. You hear me? I mean, incredible job with balloons. And she also does some setups for events and things of that nature. So, like, we support other vendors. We want them to succeed. We want them to go forward. We want them to run this trail, but not have to huff and puff so hard. You know what I'm saying? Okay, I'm done. I'm off my box now. Go ahead.
well, like I said, but what Tish is saying is absolutely correct. Is that we're really trying to do like the biggest problems that we had years ago. Rose said, "Thank you, doll." um, well, years ago, me and Tish used to have these conversations about how the industry is hurting itself
Mm-hmm.
because we're not taking time to properly educate the new arrivals, the new upcoming vendors, and that was one of the biggest things. And so we started an outreach thing where we wanted to do more to help vendors do better because it's one of the things is that I look at like me. The way I look at things is any DJ represents who I am.
Mm-hmm.
Their failures, their successes is a representative of all of us. So when you have a DJ goes out and fails, in so many ways, he represents the industry for DJing. Um, that's the reason why I tried to like. That's one of the main reasons why I said I talked to Tish about we need to do something more to educate. I remember when we tried to do a boot camp one time, and that was kind of funny, but just to
But we had a
educate,
great time though.
we had a good time, just to educate clients on what right looks like. Um,
I still feel like we should bring boot camp back next year.
I mean, I'm thinking about that too. Yeah, but it's just like one of the things is like people need to take time. And what I've learned, what I've seen is education and time management are two critical things that people don't take time to do.
Mm-hmm.
They won't make time to get properly educated or to learn what right looks like.
Mm-hmm.
And so it's like what we're trying to do is just make it easy and simple, put out information on social media. Maybe one day someone will click that button and just watch a little bit of the show and see that this can be helpful information.
Mm-hmm. I hope so.
So it's like when we sit here and we talk about bad things, we're not really we're highlighting these things because we don't want you to, like I said, like Tish said, fall in the holes.
Yeah.
Um, I know back in the day, I'm not sure if you remember that song "Potholes in My Lawn"
Mm-hmm.
by De La Soul. To me, it's kind of like one of those things is that we're trying to highlight these potholes so you don't fall in them, that you
Yeah.
don't get it fall into these situations where you're stuck, or something bad happens to you because you fail in these potholes. So the biggest thing what we're doing this show is more so is to educate people on what right looks like. Now, the name of the show today was um, "Is there a wrong way to do events?" Um, Deep down inside, I mean, it's what you want it to be, and sometimes it might turn out wrong, but there in reality, it's like you can do it wherever you want to do. But we're just trying to highlight those things to make sure wherever way you decide to do it still turns out to be successful.
There you go. I like
So,
it.
so,
I
but
love
that's
it.
so
Yep.
I think that's so. Tish, you have anything else? I think that's like we're a little bit
Nope.
over time, but I think
No,
that
that was it. That was awesome. That was awesome. So
I
yeah.
thought so too. I mean, my thing is, like I said, this weekend it just highlighted so many different. Whew, it was so many things that went wrong this weekend for so many different people, especially the weddings and the DJs. I'm like, man, that was a. I had so many people asking me things about the DJ side of stuff, and um, thank you, Rose.
Thanks, Rose.
So that's why I say I mean, to my DJs out there, look, if you need help, especially when it comes to doing weddings, please do not hesitate. I will send you a full rundown of what to expect. I
Mm-hmm.
don't want to hear this thing about I want to sex you up and I got a side piece before the
Oh
ceremony
Lord
starts. I
Jesus.
like that is a little
Rose,
extreme.
tell him leave me alone.
I mean that right before the ceremony, like wow.
Oh Lord.
And then don't get me wrong, I go out in public wearing like my clogs with white socks on, but wearing sandals with white socks to a wedding as a DJ, um, yeah, you might want, like I said, you might want to take a good look into your little dress code for doing formal events.
Yeah, that would be
I'm
nice.
telling you now, I can't get that image out of my head. This dude wearing a,
It's a couple
I
of
mean,
images
don't be
you
wrong
can't get
now.
out your head.
It was a nice short outfit, but the sandals and the white socks, I'm like, wow, like at a wedding, I mean,
Rose, he saw the video you saw.
and then the thing that was crazy was he didn't have the tablecloth only came halfway, so you saw the white socks and sandals the entire time. So anytime you looked over to the DJ booth, there go the white sandals, white socks and sandals right there. I mean, you couldn't even hide it underneath the tablecloth. I mean, wow. Are
Oh
we
my
wild?
God.
I mean, I get it, DJs, but man, white socks with sandals at a wedding, at a formal event. Boy, I'm gonna try that one time and see what happens.
You better not. I will snatch you. I will send my sister-in-law to beat you down at a wedding. Stop playing with me. Anyway, you guys, Mario, you take it too much. Okay, you guys have a great Wednesday. It's Hump Day. I know that. We're halfway to the weekend. Thank you, Lord, and we're halfway from giving God more praise on Sunday. But it's also, if you're a Wednesday person that has Bible study, y'all have some good prayer tonight, and y'all pray for us that we make it to our events this weekend, make it through our events this weekend, make them successful this weekend, and also we make it to next week so we can be back to chit chat and talk with you guys again.
All right. So that concludes our show, ladies and gentlemen. We'll see y'all next time. Man, look, I'm going to the store right now to get me some sandals so I can wear wet socks. So I'm getting ready. That's that new style now, boy. I'm telling you. Yeah, ain't no DJ if you ain't got no sandals and white socks. All right, ladies and gentlemen, that concludes our show. We'll see y'all next time.